Why don't more infant formula companies use organic, grass-fed whole milk instead of skim? Why don't more infant formula companies use the latest breast milk science? Why don't more infant formula companies run their own clinical trials? Why don't more infant formula companies use more of the proteins found in breast milk? Why don't more infant formula companies have their own factories instead of outsourcing their manufacturing? We wondered the same thing. So we made ByHeart, an infant formula company on a mission to get a lot closer to the most superfood on the planet, breast milk. Our patented protein blend has more of the important and most abundant proteins actually found in breast milk. We're the first and only U.S.-made formula to use organic, grass-fed whole milk, not skim. We even conducted the largest clinical trial by a new infant formula company in a quarter century, with clinically proven benefits like easier digestion, less spit up, and softer poops versus a leading infant formula. And we make our own formula in the USA and our very own factories in Iowa, Oregon, and Pennsylvania. ByHeart, a better formula for formula. Learn more at byheart.com.
You are listening to the Hiking Radio Network, where we talk the walk with shows by hikers, about hikers, for everybody.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning.
Welcome to the Jester Section Hiker Podcast with the spotlight on section hikers.
And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
Welcome to the podcast, everybody. You are listening to Jester Section Hiker, the premier podcast with the spotlight on section hikers. And I'm your host, Julie Jester Gayhart. For this episode, I am putting the spotlight on section hiker Justin Mullins. As you will hear, Justin and I got a chance to hike, chat, and record. As I tried to figure out the introduction for this episode with Justin, it's been hard for me to put into words the impact Justin actually had on me as a hiker. As we go through our daily lives with work, family, and whatever else comes our way, there is never a day that goes by that I don't think about hiking and the trails and when the next time will be when I can get out on the trail. Sometimes I think about planning, gear, logistics, how hard the actual hiking will be, but rarely do I think about the people I've met on the trail, and I don't know why. The people are what have impacted me the most over the years, and meeting Justin was no exception. Thanks for joining me for this episode of the podcast, and now on to my hike and chat with Justin. All right, you guys, I am back in 2021. There is a first time for everything. I am actually walking with my guest right now at my local nature preserve, Latta Plantation. And he and I are on, you guys, I got to paint this picture for you. He and I are on single track trail. It is wet, it is foggy, and we are connected by mic wires. We literally are about 6 feet apart. And we're going to interview on the trail like we're walking and talking. So please welcome with me to the podcast, Justin Mullins. Justin, thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks, Jester. It's been great to see you.
So Justin has been through it this last day or so, and it's all good. Somewhere, I think on the podcast, you heard about Outdoor 76, and you recently, yesterday, went down there and had a shoe fitting. You are section hiking the Appalachian Trail, and because of COVID, your eyes were turned to the Allegheny Trail. So for this episode, you guys are going to hear us walking and talking, and we're going to start off with Justin. Take us back to kind of like 2017, 2018, when your interest turned to, I'm going to go out and section hike the Appalachian Trail.
Well, in 2017, it was not even something on my mind. I started out just doing short little day hikes around my local parks. And just the more and more I got into it, started to notice a little bit of weight loss while I was hiking, and just is what gave me the motivation to keep going. And 2017 was just mostly just day hikes, and first got my first taste of backpacking since Boy Scouts. Whenever I started getting a few little things together. Went out to Cranberry Glades for my first couple solo backpacking trips. And
Now, maybe we should tell people where you live and where Cranberry Glades is.
I live near Beckley, West Virginia, and Cranberry Glades is in Pocahontas County. It's about 2-3 hour drive from Beckley, and near Dolly Sods, not too far.
And you guys have heard about Dolly Sods before on the podcast. An amazing area, sadly, yet I have been out to. So you started doing some day hikes in the Cranberry Glades area. And as you and I were walking earlier, you've also dropped quite a bit of weight. So talk us through the day hiking, losing the weight, and pretty much you told me you just got sick of the weight and started losing weight.
I did. Around 2017, I was around 350, 360 pounds. And just going about 5 miles on the local trail was surprising enough to me. So I just kind of wanted to push myself, see what I could do, and just noticed more and more weight loss. I probably lost about 20-30 pounds in 2017, but during 2018 really wasn't able to get out on the trail. Had a lot of stuff happen in 2018 with my wife and my work, which kept me off trail. So by the end of 2018, I was around probably back up to 360, or could be even more by the beginning of 2019.
So you dropped some weight, and then you put back on some weight?
I did. 2018, I put it on a lot more. Pretty much what I lost plus some in 2017. So I was pretty much back in back 360 or more.
And from what you told me, you pretty much had the fast food diet.
Yeah, pretty much 2018. I was working so much, it was Dollar Generals or convenience stores. That's where I got my food from.
Well, tell people what you do for a job, because they'll understand that. So for your day job, what do you do, Justin?
I work for Coca-Cola. I'm a delivery driver around Beckley. So it's long hours. You work until you finish your stops. So at that time, we were just we had a lot of stops at a time at that time. Yeah. So
you're working for Coke, you're losing weight and gaining weight. We all go through that. I mean, I would say the majority of our listeners, we all go through that, lose weight, gain weight. And something happened right after 2018, beginning of 2019. You decided to take on your first section hike of the Appalachian Trail. So tell us what section and what made you decide, hey, this is what I'm going to do.
I decided towards the beginning of 2019, I was getting tired with how my weight is ballooning, and things finally got better at work, so I had more free time to hike. And as I went on throughout the year, January, February, just started out with a little bit of treadmill until I could get out on the trails and hike. But my first time actually on the Appalachian Trail was in 2019. It was an Easter weekend, and I had a 3-day weekend that time. So I drove to Pearisburg and parked at the bottom of Angel's Rest, and went about...
And that's Pearisburg, Virginia, correct?
Yes, Pearisburg, Virginia.
Okay, did you go south or north on the Appalachian Trail?
I went north that first time. And I went through, made it, I think about 8 miles. I'd passed Ricefield Shelter, and that was a great view from there. And there was a few people there, and I just like to kind of be alone. So I just kind of went another couple miles and found a nice little campsite and set up. And first night on the trail was trying out some different types of gears. One of the first times I had was my hammock. I was a little chilly that night, but I definitely enjoyed it.
Now, how did the hammock work out for you? Did you have like the overquilt, the underquilt, all the above, or?
I did, but it was cheap versions of each one.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it worked though. I had every layer I had on, but it was around 40 degrees and windy on top of Peters Mountain.
So after that trip, did that kind of fuel you to kind of say, all right, hey, I get 3 weeks off of work here and I want to go out and take on a section of the trail? Like, did that fuel you even more?
It did, and luckily we have to pick our vacations at the beginning of January each year, and I had decided to pick 2 weeks back to back. And so I decided, I was like, well, I need to do something with this vacation. So I decided to do a section of the AT. I started in Damascus and hiked north into Pearisburg for my first 2 weeks, and loved it so much I had another vacation scheduled just a couple weeks out after that. So I continued from Pearisburg and then went on into Delville.
And how many miles is that? Is that 200 or 300 miles? I can't remember.
Around 270, I believe.
That's a pretty good chunk. And that section, I mean, you saw some beautiful stuff. You saw the ponies in Grayson Highlands. You did the Dragon's Tooth, McAfee Knob, like all the beautiful stuff. So how did that work as far as your packing stuff? Were you dialing in your gear? Were you happy with your gear? And then we'll talk about maybe how you did resupply.
I had it fairly dialed in. By the time I started in Pearisburg, I was around 35 pounds with food and water. I had to carry extra water because there was a drought in Virginia in 2019. So I was carrying about 3 to 4 liters at a time. But I had everything fairly dialed in. I had a Osprey Aether 70-liter pack, so way more than what I needed.
Justin, that's heavy.
It was a 5-pound pack, but it hugs you pretty good, so I carried the weight pretty good. So it worked out. The only thing climbing up Mount Rogers there, that was up into or near Buzzard Rock. That was something right there.
Yeah, that is a climb. So how did you do your resupply? Did you plan all that out, or did you just kind of take a through hiker style and stop where you could and stay at some hostels maybe, or what was that logistic plan?
I did a little bit of both. My first resupply was going to be in Marion, so I actually met my parents and my wife in Marion. I took the bus to Marion and stopped in Walmart, got a few things. Epsom salt was probably the first thing I grabbed.
What was your whole body bothering you, or?
No, mostly just my feet, because I didn't really have the best type of shoe at the time. So I just was trying to take care of that first, and I just sat there and relaxed, and probably had I had Bojangles on the way to the lodge, and then ordered pizza, waiting on my parents and my wife to get there the next day. Took 2 days off in Marion just to recover and spend a little bit of time with my wife and my family. The first 0 day, we actually went back to Damascus, and I had to get my trekking poles replaced because I had a cheap pair of trekking poles I'd ordered off of Amazon. And by the time I got to Mount Rogers, I was slipping on the rocks. The tips had been wore down to just the nub.
Oh, wow.
So I'd already had about 300 miles on there just on my weekend hikes. So that was about time just to replace them.
Right.
So I went to Damascus and got a pair of Lucky poles from Mount Rogers Outfitters. And the guy there was really nice. I even got a pretty good discount on them.
We'll just turn around and go back. Justin's looking at the trail like, where are we going? We'll just turn around and go back, Justin. All right, so you get to Marion, you take a couple days off, you soak your feet in some Epsom salt, and away you go. And eventually you make it to Daleville, and that kind of wraps up your section hiking for 2019. So after that, before 2020, were you set to go back and take on another section of the AT?
I was. My plan at the beginning of 2020, before COVID, was to start at the Approach Trail in Springer, and then take 3 weeks off work and hike as far as I could in the time I had. And just didn't work out during COVID. Virginia was pretty much closed down during with the governor's orders. So I just turned to other trails, more local trails, and just decided to look at the Allegheny Trail again. I'd only hiked on the Allegheny Trail one other time in a Boy Scout summer camp for just as a day hike, and I found it was a rough trail, but it was pretty nice whenever I hiked it.
Well, let's back up just a second. So at the beginning of COVID, I think everybody can relate, and we are in the new year 2021. And hey guys, how's it going?
Good, how are you?
Good. Happy New Year to you as well. And in 2020, all kinds of stuff happened. People's plans were curtailed. People were doing all kinds of stuff, going to, seeking out ways to get outside on other trails. And I think that's one of the best things that actually came out of 2020. You went to the Allegheny Trail, which was in your home turf. I went to the Mountains of Sea Trail, which is in my home turf. And I think more and more people started seeking out other trails, like you said, so they have closer drives to home and kind of give love to your local trails. So Justin, tell us exactly where the Allegheny Trail is, because for those of you that are familiar with the Appalachian Trail, in the Perrysburg area, you've gone right by the Allegheny Trail. So Justin, tell us where that trail is.
Well, from where it links with the AT, that is what we consider the southern terminus of the trail. It's about 17 miles north of Perrysburg, and a little bit before you start going down the mountain, down to Pine Swamp Branch Shelter. It just links off, continues on top of Peters Mountain, where the AT starts going down the mountain. And it continues for almost 330 miles. We have a section of trail that's not been completed yet, about 30 miles, but there is a alternate that you can do a road walk that is about 35 or so miles around.
And so the Allegheny Trail is 330 miles in length?
Yes, when it's completely finished, it'll be around 330, but with the road walk gap, it is almost 330 with the road walk in the gap.
And what blaze is the trail blazed a particular color?
It is blazed with yellow plastic blazes. We have like the standard AT style, I believe 2x5 rectangle blazes, and also we have smaller diamond shaped blazes that follow the path pretty well now. You can usually find your way most of the time with just following the blazes.
And the trail is broken down into segment style, kind of like the Mountains of Sea Trail. So how many segments of the Allegheny Trail?
It's broken up into 4 segments. Section 4 is the part that links up with the AT, and then we goes all the way up to section 1 when it meets up with the Mason-Dixon line.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so is the trail meant to be hiked south to north or north to south?
Majority people hike it north to south, but we have a thru hiker on the trail now who's hiking it northbound, starting from the AT up to the Mason-Dixon line. So it just feels like more of a exciting finish for me, hiking north to south. Section 1 has a lot of road walks, which really great country. There's a lot of country road, and there's a few asphalt road walks, but it's mostly limited country, gravel, or rock roads. But it makes it more exciting to end on the AT for me.
So Justin, in 2020, all of this is leading up to, you were following the recommendations of the ATC, your guidelines of the state that you live in, but you still had 3 weeks off of work. So in 2020, you thru hiked all 330 miles of the Allegheny Trail, right?
Yes.
So talk us through kind of that decision and how that was in a nutshell.
Well, the more and more I got into hiking the Allegheny Trail, during the summer, during when COVID really at its peak, early summer, spring, I decided I was going to try to section hike it before my vacation in October. So I managed to completely hike section 3 and 4 almost twice before I ran out of time. I started getting more involved with the West Virginia Scenic Trails Association, and I was splitting my time up helping them on the trail and just finding a lot more people to hike with, and a great community. It's a small community, but it's a lot of great people on the trail.
And when you planned out to do your through hike, we all know you had a time frame, 3 weeks off at work. Did you plan your resupplies, or did you just kind of say, hey, I'm going for it, and whatever happens, happens?
Well, since I live pretty close to the trail, I can get to section 1. It's about the longest, about 4 hours. So my original plan was to have my dad help me with my resupplies, just because I could get a little bit better food by dehydrating my own. So,
all right, you guys, we were getting ready to walk through a mud puddle here, so you'll have to forgive us.
Make face plant into the ground.
All right, so your dad was helping you with your resupply.
Yes, my original plan, since section 1 was about 4 hours from trail, I wanted to make it the first 100 miles into Davis, West Virginia, with out of resupply. So I packed all my dehydrated foods for about 7 days worth, which I could have done it in 5, but I just in case anything happened.
Justin, you're a beast. 7 days worth of food. That's a pretty heavy carry. So when you started off, how heavy was your pack?
Not as bad. I did not want to go over 25 pounds, but I ended up, like when I first started, I had 27 pounds.
Not bad at all.
No.
Not bad at all.
I didn't have to bring 7 days worth of snacks because there was 2 opportunities to resupply at a convenience store, 26 miles in Albright, and they have hot foods, so I was able to get hot foods,
which is always a plus.
Yes. So I just had my dehydrated food, so it didn't weigh too much.
So give us some highlights of the Allegheny Trail, because I also want to get into another thing you're doing for the trail. So for those that are not near the Allegheny Trail or have an interest, what are a couple of highlights of the trail?
Well, in section 1, the highlights, definitely the first 26 miles, it's all road walk, but at the campsite, Teeter's campsite, about at the 26 mile mark, during the summer, there's the camp manager there, Jim. He's a great guy. He helped me out on day 3, took me back to the camp, and he's a guitar player. He plays near the Purple Fiddle in Thomas.
Oh wow!
So, yeah, he's pretty good, and we had a nice little campfire, hot dogs and everything. So it was section 1. I was kind of prepared to be kind of boring, but Jim really made section 1 stand out to me.
I tell you what, no matter what, I'm always, trails are surprising. Just when you think, oh, I'm going to knock off this boring road section, look what happened.
Yeah, because it turned in, my day 3 turned into what would have been a bad day, because no water. I missed the shelter because it was overgrown, and instead of having to backtrack to the section, I was able to call him and just call it a day, because I'd only made a couple miles that day, and time I actually got back out of the woods, because I took the wrong trail, and it was afternoon before I actually got back on trail and found out where the shelter was.
Gotcha.
So I had to go another 15 miles that day, because it's all private land, mostly through there. Not a whole lot of camping opportunities.
Well, you told me about another highlight that I thought was fascinating, because you said that people come from all over to see this particular area. So tell us about that.
It is. I think probably my favorite section on all 4 is Hanging Rock. It's about 12 miles from the southern terminus of the AT, so worth a side trip if you're ever through hiking. It's a long little hike, but it's not a hard hike to get to it. It is also where during the spring and fall you can see the migratory birds, eagles, golden eagles, and lots of redwings through there.
Nice. And that is a place called Hanging Rock. Mm-hmm. And for you AT enthusiasts, it's about a 4-mile side trail. Is that 8 miles round trip from the AT then?
It's 12. It'll be 12 miles one way. So it's a big side trip unless you're able to get a ride, because you can get to Hanging Rock from Pearisburg fairly easy, especially with the shuttle. And it's only a 1-mile hike up the mountain to the tower from the parking lot.
All right. So I imagine if you're taking a 0 day in Pearisburg, it might be a good idea to get a shuttle and go see Hanging Rock. So, well, first of all, Justin, congratulations on completing the Allegheny Trail in 2020 and setting your sights on something and making it happen. And not only have you section hiked various areas of the Allegheny Trail, you're now a through hiker of the Allegheny Trail. And I imagine not many people have through hiked that trail. Do you know what number you are or roundabout?
Not really. We don't have any numbers, which I would like to start a system of recognizing through or section hikers eventually here soon. But I think this year we might have had 5 or 6 this year. So it's not a high number. But I think COVID's brought a lot of people to the trail, so I think the numbers will definitely go up.
Perfect. So not only have you accomplished that, you are getting way more involved in the West Virginia Trails Association. You're very good friends with the president, but you also have gotten into trail maintenance for the Allegheny Trail and actually maintain. What section do you maintain now?
Section 4 North. It's Section 4 is broke up into 2 because of the gap in the trail, and Section 4 North is about 16 miles long, and it's a great little hike right off the interstate 64. You can get to Jerry's Run trailhead, and it runs right halfway through is a sheltered the Graham shelter. So 8 miles in, you have a nice little shelter. And it's just an easy 8 miles back out either direction. So
what interested you in getting into the trail maintenance part of it and getting more involved in the trail itself and the association?
Well, I was just looking to do something. Beginning of 2020, I was actually going to try to get involved with maybe one of the AT trail associations in Virginia. But because of COVID, I looked more local, and I found West Virginia Scenic Trails Association. There are not a whole lot of volunteers, but the volunteers on there devote so much of their time and efforts to maintaining this trail. And if it wasn't for a few of the members, we really wouldn't have an Allegheny Trail. They put so much time into maintaining it that I just maybe want to do more with them. They needed me more than the AT did, I believed.
I love that. And I mean, you guys can't see Justin, but I can. He and I, let's just go out here and take a lift. We're still hiking. Hopefully you can hear our footsteps. But Justin, I mean, I've only known you for maybe an hour now. You got a heart of gold. And I really, really, really wish you nothing but the best. And again, congrats on your accomplishments on the Allegheny Trail and your section hiking on the Appalachian Trail. But let's get into this. The reason that you came close to my neck of the woods, you just took a trip to the Outfitter, the famous Outfitter on the Appalachian Trail near Franklin, North Carolina. So first of all, what made you want to take a trip down to Franklin and Outdoor 76?
Well, I think I first heard about Outdoor 76 from your podcast, and I've heard so many other people say it now, and how their shoe fittings are great, how they've helped other hikers. So I just wanted to go there. I've tried tons of different shoes on before, and I was thinking I had a decent shoe at the time, but I was looking for more of a trail maintenance shoe, and they helped me find a good shoe for trail maintenance at the time. They'll take the time, measure your foot, give you advice on how, they'll take your input on how you like your shoe to feel, and they'll set you up with a pretty good set of shoes.
How many did you try on there? How many did they have you try and kind of see what was happening?
I think I had about 6 pair.
Oh, wow. And how much time did they spend with you?
Probably a good hour. There was a younger guy there. He through hiked in 2015. and he was pretty knowledgeable about everything. He helped me out. Spent time with that. Even helped me pick out a puffy jacket he recommended.
So so you walked out of Outdoor 76 with how many items?
3 big items and a couple stickers. I had to get the Outdoor 76 Safety Third sticker.
All right, so 2 new pairs of shoes, a pair of shoes to do trail maintenance in, a new pair of shoes to go hiking in. I think you're wearing them right now. We've muddied them up pretty good.
Yeah, breaking them in good.
So what would you tell the listeners? Is it worth going down to Franklin and going to Outdoor 76?
It definitely is. I had New Year's Day off, so I just made a weekend out of it. Went down to Outdoor 76, stayed near Deep Gap Trailhead, just car camped a couple days, and climbed Wester Ball Tower. And
wow. Okay, now did you get a view from Wester Ball?
I did. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was amazing.
Okay, even if you don't go to Outdoor 76, going to Wester Tower is 100% definitely worth it. So, Justin, as we are wrapping up our hike here and heading back to our vehicles, is there anything in particular that you want to leave the listeners with?
Just thinking, like, if you're trying to get out and afraid of anything COVID related or busy trails, the entire time I hiked the Allegheny Trail, I saw maybe 5 people, and that was near town and when the trail joins existing trails. So there's not going to be hardly anybody on this trail. You can come out there, be alone with your thoughts, and just enjoy nature.
And one more thing I thought of. Tell us about the Facebook page you started.
I didn't start it. It was started about maybe a year or 2 before I came, but I took over helping managing it, and that's where I really found a lot of my information.
And what's the name of that Facebook group page?
It is the Allegheny Trail and Mary Draper Ingalls Trail.
Okay, and I will make sure I put that in the show notes so you can find that. I'm also going to put the information about the West Virginia Trails Association in there. And you guys, I looked on their website. They have a lot on their website in managing various areas, different trails. And you can find out more information about the Great Eastern Trail on that website as well. So please go check that out. Justin, we're going up a little bit of a hill here, and I am out of breath. Thank you so much for meeting me here, being willing to come on the podcast. And like I said, you have a heart of gold. I'm looking forward to following along your adventures for 2021, and happy trails.
Well, thanks, Jester. You have a good one.
What a great time Justin and I had out on the trails at my local nature preserve. Justin, you truly have a heart of gold, and your passion for the Allegheny Trail definitely shines through. Congrats on your AT section hike and your 2020 through hike of the Allegheny Trail. We could all take your lead when it comes to giving back to our local trails. As always, all of the information, resources, and pictures from today's episode can be found in the show notes at hikingradionetwork.com. If you like what we do here at the network, please consider a donation to your favorite show and leave us a review. Each donation and review truly makes a difference in what we do. Thanks for listening, everybody, and happy section hiking.
I'm wondering if you'd go wandering with me through the wilderness and woods to where the winds are blowing free, through the darkness of the night, heading toward the morning light. I wonder if you'd wander with me, and I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come, and we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. You're wondering if I I go wandering with you. What kind of trouble we'll get ourselves into? Would it be wrong to tag along with a band of vagabonds? You wonder if I'd wander with you. So I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods. I'm wondering if you'd come wandering my way. If you ever get lost, or if the trail leads you astray, the music of the pack can always bring you back. I wonder, can we wander away? And I'll spread the word and you beat the drum. We'll round up the troops and get the gang to come. And we'll leave the streets and these neighborhoods, head over the river and through the woods.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because you know the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you know you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.